Last night we had two playing games, the Bulls versus the Raptors to start it off, and then to finish off the day we had the Pelicans versus the Thunder. Both games were just crazy once again. Like, the only playing game that hasn't really been that competitive was the Heat versus the Hawks, and even in that one there was still hope that the Heat were going to make a comeback. But every single game, every single finish that we've seen so far for every playing game has been crazy towards the end of the game. Now, in the Raptors game, we had a fan screaming every time they were shooting free throws. I remember I was watching like the second quarter, and I was like, who is that screaming? I don't get it. Aren't they supposed to be in Toronto? Why is their own fans screaming at their own players? Are there Bulls fans there? And then they showed that it was DeMar DeRozan's daughter. And I was like, okay, I've never seen an instance where players, NBA players, pro players actually got distracted by free throws. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you guys remember back, that when the bubble was happening, and it wasn't the bubble, it was right after the bubble, and there weren't fans allowed into the crowd. I'm pretty sure the Suns were playing the Raptors, and their mascot was trying to distract Devin Booker. And Devin Booker got him to move out the way because everybody was calling Devin Booker soft for whatever. But that's like the only instance I've ever seen like a player actually say something about fans trying to distract somebody from shooting free throws. Other than that, like, I've never ever heard of that. I've seen crazy things. I've heard people scream. I've seen people do weird things to try to distract players, and usually it never works. But in Toronto, it worked because Toronto, I'm pretty sure, is like above 70% shooting from the free throw line this year, and they shot horrible. I think they shot 50% from the line, like 18 missed free throws. They went like, I think out of like, I don't know, I'm not going to say the numbers, but I know they had 18 missed free throws, including 2 of the 3 by Siakam at the very end of the game. First off, I don't even think that should have been a shooting foul. And I could talk about the coach's challenge thing, because it seems like, and I'm not going to say that it's a good thing or that it really should matter that they should get the challenge back. But honestly, they probably, if they're going to go the route of doing the replay, I think they should be able to get their challenge back, because teams, I notice, especially in these close play-in games, these playoff games, when the games are going to start getting very crazy, a coach sometimes has to use their challenge earlier in the game, and usually during the regular season, everybody's like, you have to save it towards the end of the game. But during the middle of the game, momentum can flip just based on just one call. So now coaches are using their challenges earlier in the game, and they're not getting rewarded when they win. The only thing that happens is they don't lose a timeout. Now, you could say we don't want to slow the game down with replay, but honestly, I think if you're going to go the replay route and they just review everything in the last 2 minutes anyways, they might as well just give them their challenge back so teams aren't so afraid to do that. So I think they would have been able to challenge that and say that's not a shooting foul. I'm honestly not even sure. I think somebody was saying that there was a DeMar DeRozan foul that wasn't a foul, and the Raptors could have challenged it if they got their challenge back. So it's interesting to see challenges are very important in these type of games. Another thing that's very important that I've noticed in these type of games are the inbound. Like, during the regular season, like, you see a couple instances where they get a steal on the inbound to win the game, but it seems like every single inbound towards the end of the game is very crucial, and it's very difficult to get it in. And that's another thing that you don't usually see with NBA players, struggling with, is inbounding the ball. Like, usually pro NBA players, the best in the world, have no problem inbounding the ball. Usually that's like a younger player issue in high school and college, and that's why they do full court trap and everything. But you're seeing this still working in the NBA, and it is beautiful kind of to see defense being played. But going back to the free throw thing, 18 missed free throws, and you could just say it's a coincidence that they missed the free throws because she was screaming. It was dead quiet in there. You could hear her screaming. They even started showing her towards the end, and even Scotty Barnes at the end of the game said, hey, I guess it worked because we were missing free throws, and he definitely heard it. DeMar DeRozan, I could tell during the game, I feel like he's just kind of like, oh my God, when his daughter's doing it, because I see him at the free throw line like, what is going on? But it was working. He said that she's not going to be in Miami, so we're going to get the Bulls versus Miami in Miami. The way Miami played that Hawks game, I could definitely see the Bulls winning that game. But the Bulls honestly didn't play good for most of that Raptors game. Siakam went off. Fred VanVleet didn't play the best. But that being said, the first half didn't look good until Levine scored like 17 points in the third quarter and kind of brought him back. Zach LaVine almost had a 40-point game. And Beverly hitting a clutch 3 at the end of the game too. So I guess he still hits those clutch shots in those playing games. Patrick Beverly's undefeated in playing games. So that's enough of the Bulls-Raptors game. Let's move on to the later game because in my opinion, this game was as good, if not better. A young Thunder team on the road. By the way, the Bulls won on the road. So 2 road wins. You know, I was saying last time how important home court advantage is going to be in the playoffs. But so far in the play-in, 3 of the 4 teams have won on the road. The Lakers are the only team that has won it at home. The Heat lost at home, the Raptors lost at home, and the Pelicans lost at home. That's interesting. You know, definitely interesting because the crowd was crazy for every single crowd except for the Heat. The Heat just felt like a middle of the season, regular season game for some reason. But anyways, moving on to the Thunder and Pelicans game. SGA kind of got shut down the first half. Like he didn't look as active or aggressive the first half, and then the second half is like as soon as the announcers started talking about it on the broadcast, you know, oh, SGA only has this amount of points, what's up with him? He just scored like 12 in the quarter and started going crazy, and in the fourth quarter he just kind of took over, and then they started trapping him and double teaming him and kind of letting other players shoot, like Jalen Williams, who was missing a couple, and then they got the other Jalen Williams hitting sky hooks over people. Hitting some clutch shots too. Lou Dort didn't really do much in the fourth quarter, but Josh Giddey did his thing in the fourth quarter. Almost a 30-point triple-double for Josh Giddey. He did kind of look a little bit nervous towards the end, making a little bit of mistakes, not seeing him as comfortable as he usually is in the regular season. That being said, most players aren't. A lot of people want to put the blame on CJ McCollum in this game. CJ McCollum, I seen after the game, was talking about he was talking about pretty much that he could have got surgery, but instead he played through it, and that's why he's struggling. And a lot of people think that's a shot at Zion Williamson, but I honestly don't think that's a shot at Zion Williamson. I think people are just reaching to get some headlines or drama because people are addicted to that. Because I think he's just trying to, you know, make it the excuse for himself. Going back to my podcast, if you guys didn't watch it towards the end, I was just talking about playoffs it's gonna be teams going through adversity. Every team is gonna have an excuse why they lost, and it's gonna be valid, but in order to win, you're gonna have to fight through adversity. The Pelicans were not able to do that, although Brandon Ingram played really good and he hit that crazy shot at the end. But if he would have made that free throw, it would have been a different game. Brandon Ingram, he missed the free throw, and then the Thunder went up by 4 points. Ingram took a tough contested shot with 0 timeouts left, with like 3 or 4 seconds left, and it almost looked like an and 1 4-point play. He made it. The Thunder had a chance down by 3 with 3 seconds left, and Murphy threw the ball away. Tough loss for the Pelicans because that crowd was going crazy. But shout out to the Thunder, the second youngest team in the league, coming in on the road, must-win game, and they win. Now they're going up against the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves are saying that they're not even sure if Rudy Gobert is going to even play in this one. So that's interesting. One thing I want to talk about as a Lakers fan, this whole Pelicans thing. As a Lakers fan, I'm not one of those Lakers fans that are like, oh, look, we won the trade. Oh, look, laughing at the Pelicans. Like, bro, we should be supporting the Pelicans because they have Brandon Ingram. If you are a real Lakers fan, you should be cheering for the Pelicans because of Brandon Ingram. Like, how do you not like Brandon Ingram? I don't understand that. I hate the battle between fans on Twitter. Like, yes, they lost the game, but it was a good game. How are we going to say they lost the trade? They got a whole, or we won the trade? I don't ever understand when people say won a trade. What does that even mean? The Pelicans got a whole bunch of young players. Anthony Davis was leaving anyways, and they got a whole bunch of young players out of him. I don't get it. With Zion Williamson playing, they're a different team. They'd be better. And that's another thing. A lot of people talking about Zion Williamson, his injuries, injury prone, blah, blah, blah. But when he was playing, they're the number 1 seed in the West. So it is very tough for the Pelicans. That was their adversity to overcome. The Zion Williamson injury to overcome CJ McCollum's 5 for 15 performance because he said that he's not fully healthy, and they couldn't do it. Shout out the Thunder. Had to overcome something. They don't have a center because Chet, at the beginning of the season, injured himself. They've been playing without a center, but Jalen Williams been stepping up big at the 5 spot. The other Jalen Williams looking like the second place runner-up for Rookie of the Year, and SGA having his best season in the entire NBA, looking like first team All-NBA this season. And Josh Giddey, great sophomore season for Josh Giddey. So shout out to the Thunder, second youngest team in the league. Moving on to the next round, it's going to be interesting. My predictions is going to be the Hawks versus Bulls, Timberwolves versus the Thunder. So far, my predictions not been good. I said the Bulls were going to beat the Raptors, but I said the Pelicans were going to beat the Thunder. But I did say I'm not going to be surprised if the Thunder win that game, because the Thunder are capable of winning that game, and they proved it to me that they could win. So I think the Thunder could go into Minnesota and actually win that game. Although Mike Conley looks really good, Cat looks really good, Anthony Edwards not going to have that type of game again. It's going to be interesting to see if SGA can carry that team. Also, it is announced that Andrew Wiggins will play game 1. He is cleared to play game 1. Warriors are at full strength, and he's coming off the bench. So it's going to be interesting to see that matchup. Home court advantage not looking so good so far, as much as I thought it was going to be. So we'll see in the playoffs play in, see if it's the same type of atmosphere. If it is, this is going to be the best playoffs I've ever witnessed as a fan of the NBA. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions on everything happening down below in the comments. Be sure to hit that like button to help out this video and the channel, and hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. This is ZTAY. Peace.